welcome to another gameplay review on this coaching channel, and we of course have the Shaco versus the Fiddlesticks in the Diamond MMR, and yeah, I confused my intros there, but it's fine, we go back on track. This is going to be an interesting one because we have obviously just covered a Platinum/Emerald Fiddlesticks, and we've seen a lot of mistakes, so let's see what the Shaco can do to offset some of the Fiddlesticks' level 6 spiking, what the Fiddlesticks can do to try and stop some of the cheese factor, and can Jace beat Zed? Because, you know, as not Z tier as Zed is, I still feel like he's one of those champions that if you're Z99, you're gonna be good. And it can really change the nature of the game. Nice, skillful champion in that sense, but also the floor has really diminished in recent years. Like, you can miss everything and still kill people, and that's where you get this frustration. But anyway, we're not here to talk about Zed, although maybe Zed jungle one day. Was that? You know, I get it, but like, you see how he's pathing down here? It's fine, but I just always like the habit, right, of ensuring that you just, if the wave is crashing, you're going to be seen if you cross here, okay? So you want to avoid that as much as possible. So yes, we want to go ahead and get across the side. We've got our Q deceive ready to go as well, but you see this wave just crashing here. You don't want your pet to lag behind. We just cut back very, very close, but you don't want to give away that information. Now, we obviously know that the Shaco started on the bottom side. We know that the Fiddlesticks is going top to bottom. And this ward here that we saw earlier has in fact disappeared and died. So the Fiddlesticks should have a full clear here. You know, you look at like a high MMR Shaco, like a Grandmaster Challenger Shaco one trick, right? One of those guys. It's really, honestly, as much as I hate that champion, and I really do despise that champion more than anything, I have such a profound respect for those that one trick it properly and always find ways to be relevant. You know, it's such a cool idea, right, to play something so unique only and just always figure out a way around what's around you. And that's how I play my champions. When I play Zyra jungle, I just spam at one trick. I don't care about the comp. Volley, Mundo, doesn't matter. Whenever I'm playing, and yeah, Volley basically is an off-meta jungler at this point, I just play it. Then I figure it out and I mesh my playstyle. But Shaco's so unique with this rule bending, right? Now, I'm not a huge fan, obviously, in these particular cases of full clearing on Shaco. I get why we did it, but you will see that the Challenger Plus players, very frequently, if they're gonna do this, there is a very specific intent. Let's see if this Shaco can reveal anything to us in that regard. Because we see the Fiddlesticks showing up on the bottom side here, and I think my problem is, as we watch him lose a lot of HP, you know, while Shaco does that crap, we're watching this from the Fiddle, you know at this point, if the Shaco hasn't shown up, that the guy's definitely going to be doing a full clear plus scuttle. We're going to see him here now. Alright, there's the gank on the Jace to chunk him, and now we're going to meet over the scuttle crab here. We're looking at a double scuttle event from the Shaco's perspective. The ignite goes through, we get the smite off, which means that crab does go in the way of Fiddlesticks, but all we need is one more backstab. One more backstab. He's trying really hard to get it. There we go. And so for Split 2 of Season 13, I'm launching an easy way to have all the causes to address the issues you're having in your current MMR, to make improving as a jungler even faster than it's ever been, and to give more value and information than I've ever done in one simple place. Your new place for jungle growth and jungle diffing. And then give you a whole bunch of other stuff like free jungle cheat sheets, a custom-made video just for the jungle club every single week, open Q&As every single week, patch rundowns, free coaching twice a week for anyone who wants to join the room. I've been the go-to jungle YouTuber since 2017. I've coached thousands of clients. I'm a qualified teacher with 15 years experience. I know how to make a course, and I know how to make junglers convert from low elo to gold to emerald to diamond to master plus. If you want to climb faster than anybody you know, jungle diff every game you play, head to virkayu.gg, click on jungle course memberships and sign up to reach your true potential. Really hoping to get into range for that. Fiddle should have just kept running because he was dead anyway. And now we shift with Q deceive back out of the picture. What do you think? I don't know if he had any proactive concept, because look, an Ashe Sona is not exactly the best lane in the world. A Zyra Khan should be pretty good at playing around that. The Fiddlesticks is going to full clear down. Yes, we can kind of match his tempo, although we technically should never be able to match that tempo. This should be diveable, so a level 4 into this should be nice. Likewise, I think I just would have preferred to see from the Shaco's perspective, you know, maybe a red side quadrant, do something about this lane or do something about this lane, but stop bottom side, do the quadrant, right? Cut and try do something mid lane just to create some advantage for your melee carry in the mid lane. Now you've got all of this to fall back to. You know this guy's going down here. And this could be a dive you can do pre-6. Maybe you can get in on the Kale, right? That's kind of what we would look to do stereotypically. Like if you were an Elise, an early game jungler that could apply that pressure. And I feel like we should be in that regard considered such a thing. A high pressure jungler. We just use cheese tactics. Overall though, you saw the shiftiness, you saw the backstab, you saw the Q deceive activation. I don't know why I always say Q deceive, I don't know why. Some abilities you just kind of put the letter of the ability before. We got the 2-shift poison that we can chuck out at the bottom here. You know, slows people running away from you, always extra damage, critical strikes below 30% HP from that passive there, as you see. Well, not critical strikes, but bonus magic damage, obviously. Now, Zed, in the meantime, is going to go ahead and kill this guy hitting that level 6. Again, why would you go in once he's used his W trade, hit you, and has ult plus flash? That's an oversight from Mighty Yace from Arcade, the hit TV show, Season 2 when. Yeah, this is a passive Shaco early game. Very much so. Very much so, right? Got the Zerkas out. The Fiddlesticks is only 3 CS behind, has a bit more action in the lane. Obviously, we're not yet level 6 here. We have the Silence, we have the Fear, we have the Suck. We're hoping to get a few more auto attacks here. There we go. God, watching him auto attack is so sad. I like the Fiddle's game plan, though. Minus the coin flipping of that bottom scuttle and dying to it. You know, I'm glad we got kills there, but I kind of want to make sure that my house is in order, the scuttle crab's in order. I don't want to get double scuttled, things like this. But hey, you know what? That's fine. Now we're going over here, and this is why I like what the Shaco did. This is why I like it. The first rotation, okay, we scuttle, we double scuttle, we fight, whatever. We're healthy enough to stay out and go boom, 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 boom again. A full second rotation. What that does is it means all your camps get taken very quickly upon their second respawn, and other junglers who might think to counter jungle and get some more information, they're not actually going to get it. And they fall behind in terms of timers. Oh, woo. So this is definitely more your farming map control Shaco, which again, I'm happy to see and expose people to, and also expose myself to, because actually no, I lie. I much prefer dynamic pathing, giga aggressive cheese strategy, beautiful ganking angles, snowballing. I much prefer that. That's the kind of stuff that makes you work in high elo, because the champion does not have that same cohesion with teams when it gets to the mid and the late game, you know, in terms of team fighting. So obviously what they're doing is nerfing the AP Shaco, which is great. They really want to bring back that AD Shaco from those recent buffs. Now, we snack a dragon, and this I think provides us a nice look at Shaco in general. Now, again, we're not talking too much about the mechanics, obviously, in this particular case, but we do have 3 points and 2 ship at this stage. We're talking about this whole idea. Is he sitting in a bot lane bush with it being warded, with no effigy in pocket, or an effigy and just deciding not to use it? This is Diamond, folks. And then people wonder why they don't climb. This is it. You're sitting in a water bush. He puts the box there, which means as soon as you're walking in, I have to flash to fear it, which of course he does. He flashes back in to get that double fear proc there. The Zed's roaming down already, and now he's just dead. And now he's just dead. Shaco, in the meanwhile, will just play off of whatever's in front of him, try and keep auto-attacking and slowing and standard stuff. Once you use the box there, the cooldown is already at 13.64 seconds, so that's quite high once that was placed. The rest of it is just about mobility, Q snapping around, and obviously using 2 shift whenever it's up. Oh, basic attacks also do good slows when it's off cooldown, right? You read that? While the ability is off cooldown, his attacks slow the target by 25% for 2 seconds as well. So we obviously have that beautiful synergy there of having the spell up basically all the time, in essence, right? So anyway, I'm not really feeling like, you know, us being Shaco has anything to do with how this game is going. And I think that's ultimately my POV when it comes to this champion. Fiddlesticks, obviously, super terrible. This is just an evil crime. The Shaco does rotate to it. But I feel like if you could be any other jungler, why play Shaco? Does it make sense? Am I making sense as to what I was expecting from this? I'm okay with the farm. I'm okay with scaling. I'm okay with the split push. Can you do these things? Yes. There are multiple ways to play multiple champions. But I would have much preferred saying, look, I can farm as well as the Fiddlesticks at this particular stage. You can see that right there. I have the cheese strategy in my back pocket. I can rotate very, very quickly as well with my Deceive, which is my Q ability. But why wouldn't you then leverage the fact that you can get ahead of him in map tempo, right? Invade him, cut him off, gank the lanes he wants to gank, get all the objective, which is, of course, what we are doing. But we're doing it through the order of sequencing, which again is fine. It's fine. It's just I would have preferred to see a bit more action. And yeah, the Zed's fed, but what if your Zed was not fed? And that's my concern with diamonds, right? If you want Mercer tier. This for me is a very good example of that, right? What are we talking about here overall? Why'd you take the Herald, you swine? This is the thing we're talking about here. You tend to play in a way that where your laners win, and you can play around that nicely. You're like, cool, I'm doing stuff, right? I'm helping my winning lanes. But if his lanes were losing right now, would he still be playing the same way? And that there is a diamond strategy in a nutshell. And as I was about to go on a tangent, I seen the Fiddlesticks in the bottom lane doing a bit of a cut here. We'll get a suck kill. That's not, again, like he's 3-2-1. Solid. But there was Sylphie. He's a German league coach. Challenger player for many years. Multi-role. And basically, a couple of years ago, I saw him say something. The effectiveness of the statement was, diamond junglers, or diamond players in general, will get to that elo range by doing one thing better than anybody else beneath them. But if you want to get to Master Plus and get a high elo, get to Challenger, you've got to be able to do multiple things, right? You can't just do that one thing. And players like this Shaco, what we're looking at here, if we were to compare it to, say, the Platinum and Emerald games we've seen this week, you would say, hey, just having the solid, clear, double scuttle, good reactive pressure, objective control, shadowing scenarios, that would be amazing, right? And you would always be further ahead than the enemy jungler because they will keep making worse mistakes than what we're seeing this Fiddle make. And that's why this Shaco could easily be diamond with it. But if he wants to go to the next level, where's the dynamic pathing, you know? Where's that pressure into the Fiddlesticks? Make him rotate, make him slow down his farm. Oh, here we go. We finally have an actual gank. The Ashe Arrow just misses completely. We show up with our ult. We are not placing a box at this particular stage, and the Ashe is going to get a kill. That was not mechanically very smooth. I mean, the box doesn't break your camera. You might as well place it because you know where she's going to ult to, so you can just place that and hopefully go in afterwards, especially if she doesn't see you. Let's look at it from the Xayah's perspective here, right? The Ashe Arrow goes through. He's already revealing over here as it is, okay? Went in too soon. So the problem here is if you queue too long, right? You got 2.25 seconds, right? You've got to make sure you hit that at the right moment. So your vision pathing for Shaco also still has to be good. It still has to be good. And even then, we've got a W on cooldown at the stage. Why? Where do we place a box that was so important that we had to do it? Let's watch the approach. We place the box here, in this brush. That's hard winning. You have super control. If you're tracking this guy, you know he's not in the picture right now. That's the most important thing if you're tracking him. The goal here is to sync up with the Ashe and do a gank. Don't waste critical spells. It's like Nunu, Wing to ward and then going to bottom lane gank and not having a snowball. It makes no sense. We want to ensure that we're paying attention to vision control so that we can actually queue at the right moment. See, look at this. We know she's going to move up in the lane. Ashe shows up here, so you're watching this, right? You're in the brush. You're in the brush. Now we go, okay, 1,000, 2,000. If the Ashe Arrow hits, we'll definitely have a better time. But I do feel like you're looking at this vision toggle right here. Wait a second. Because what this means is you can leave the brush close to wall and get to the vision line before you press Q. You can give yourself another half a second, 0.75 of a second. Make sense? It's the same thing for any champion. Understanding fog of war manipulation, something Kenyan has always done beautifully. The guy will sit here next to this mushroom that you see, knowing that he's not seen. And then he'll just go in like Nidalee Spear full combo and like, what the hell? What? And that's exactly the kind of stuff you want with a Shaco. So I feel like saving our box for this gank, understanding vision toggle a little better, instead of just going with the Ashe immediately, just slow your roll, watch it develop. If we can get here with our Q still up, obviously the box placement will be better, but now we don't have the box placement. So we're going in here with a 2-shiv, right? As she's not even facing away from us anyway. We're ulting into position, and now we're just kind of standing still and... I mean, like, you didn't really do anything. Like, we get the kill, that's great, you do damage. But it's not the thought process that's important, that I expect him to be using. I expect him to be thinking... Well, not thinking, like it should be natural. I expect him to understand those things already. But as I said, if he is a straight up farming Shaco, reactive Shaco, objective control Shaco, that's fine. Like this will get you diamond. No stress. But if you want to start to take control of games with this champion, it's going to be way more high KP, high cheese, smart pathing. As I said, I'm not a huge fan of the champion, but I love to see good ones. And on the gameplay channel, I did a rank 1000 OP Challenger Shaco replay last month. So go watch that and compare it to this. I think that's the best way you can do that. Go watch that and then compare it to this, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So we do get the second dragon. Every lane is winning, but as is my philosophy when... Oh, we're going to do a little loop. Here we go. That's much better. There we go. Good job, Shaco. Good job, Shaco. Much better. Don't care about the result of it. I care that he looped back to try and make an action. That's all I care about here. But at the same time, we should be fed enough that that's a dead Zaya. At 30 minutes, this should be a dead Zaya, and we'll still be able to go back in here. There you go. Good night. Much better approach. Didn't carry on farming blindly. Said, let me loop back and repeat gank this bottom lane, yeah? That's what I like to see. Obviously, again, kind of reacting because the Ashe was in the middle of the fight, but at least he showed signs of life. Fiddle, in the meantime, on the other side, taking some Raptors, 89 CS, 331. Again, not really doing anything. I just... You know, it's not an insult, because when we speak about these videos, this MMR range, we expect certain things. And everyone always expects certain things. Like Diamond, sure, it's great for the general player base, but there's a big shift between the Diamond player who wants to stay Diamond and be like this and play their one style, and the Master Tier player who becomes diverse and understands adaptation and map reads and can think ahead of the enemy jungler and ahead of the game. Understands that winning lanes still need to be supported, right? Understands that losing lanes can be won, despite the fact that they're losing. And if we if we don't have that power, you know, you're going to fall into the trap hole, because we're 2 out of 3. Yeah, we have objective control, which again, great, but, you know, the Fiddlesticks is giving me more, I hate that. Put the F, it's the F, wait, what? Maybe this Fiddlesticks is not so different from yesterday's Fiddlesticks. Maybe it's the same Fiddlesticks. Yeah, it's very concerning, isn't it? I like this. I've had a lot of amazing ideas back over the years from watching like D1, T2 games, which, you know, obviously now would technically be low master because of the inflation, but let's just say, you know, like from the general MMR range, you get a lot of good stuff. Because you see such basic failures of things. And just in the private Discord today, our Echo, one of our Echo Savants, we have a lot of Echo Savants, Bilbo Stabbins, high silver guy going for his gold, getting his gold back, and he faces a diamond jungler in a normal game, and he got destroyed. And then he went to the replays, and having been familiar with a lot of the stuff we talk about, said I was actually disgusted that this guy beat me. I recognized everything in the replay that he was doing and why he was doing it, and I just didn't think about it in game because I was too worried about the fact that he was diamond. And that's my whole message to all of you. When you see something like this, just keep your fundamentals. If you have good fundamentals in Platinum and Emerald, and you have good climbing mechanics, as in you're going up frequently, and you see a diamond person, use it as a measuring stick, but don't treat them as anything different, right? They're just doing one thing that you do better than you do it at all. But you can beat them in all the other ways, right? It's like they do that one thing out of 10 that you have no idea what to do. Or you can't do it at all. But you do the other 9 things better than they do. So leverage those into an advantage. You know? Because you're seeing it here. Looks fine, looks serviceable, but I'm not exactly especially turned on by this performance. And Kale is still... Kale, man. She's still level 12. You always think, you know, I have time before Kale scales, man. And then you look at 17 minutes and she's level 12 and you're like, there's only 4 more levels to go, you know, and she's ahead enough somehow to be able to do things. Very wild. That's why it's important, as I'm as I'm talking about here, the guy's just farming. You know, his lanes are winning reasonably, but he's controlling the map and the objectives. But what if they throw? What if they won't? What if? And good fundamental jungling means that what if never gets realized. I don't have to wonder what if, because if they're winning, I'm still shitting on the Kale 1,200 times. If they're winning, I'm still shitting on the Jays 1,200 times. If they're truly winning, I'm still making sure the Fiddlesticks is down 4 levels to me, so that the comeback isn't possible. That's your job, in a nutshell. If your lanes are winning, and you don't have to do much other than farm, before you just AFK farm, think about what you can do to make sure that the game isn't something that the enemy can come back from. Because at this point, we should be, you know, probably hitting 12 pretty shortly, and the Fiddle will be level 10, so we're just about to get a 2-level lead, but at 18 minutes, you know, in this kind of game, I'd expect to be 3 levels up, Flame Horizoning the Fiddle, so definitely, that's the message. It's definitely not a regular coaching video for this channel when we talk about, you know, these are the 3 tips to gank better. You know, it's definitely a more abstract lesson in this video, but one I think that we should all be thinking about. And hopefully one that makes sense to you, the people. So, Jace is now moving down to the bottom side here. We'll look at this from a macro perspective. How can we make sure this pushes up? We've got 2 top lane. We can go for 2-2-1. We observe this, fresh kill. No reason for this other than to look for the pick on the Xayah, but just shove. Shove, shove. You got 2 top. They'll deal with that. Make sure you pay attention to the windows here for Fiddle ults and for collapses. We can also shove this up and cut down to join the Zed. The Cho'Gath is out of whack here, so is the Ashe. Okay, 3 mid to hold. 1 top lane. We can bounce to the bottom side here. We'll have that Herald as well. Set a pick here if you want. He goes back to the mid lane. You're interrupting my farming practices. You know, that's a silly Herald. I felt he was in a good position. Shadow the Rakan, make the pick if necessary, or follow them here. Now we can actually use the Herald. The Herald here is not... This is not an amazing Herald. Like, you want to be able to bust open this. The wave gets pushed all the way back. So, yeah, missed opportunity for a nice push, but... His modus operandi seems to be to let people do stuff, and you'll just follow up with this kind of stuff here. Yeah. Not as active as I thought it would be. It's kind of hopeful, you know? Because you kind of look at certain timestamps in the game or the match history, and you're like, maybe some interesting things occurred with this 4-0-4, 4-0-5 Shaco, and it's like, nope. Nope, I cannot see a world where this guy carries this game if his lanes lose. Honestly. Because if you think my lanes are winning, and there's no way for me to gank them, and you're a Shaco, and you anyone a diamond, that's not good. There's millions of ways to gank your lanes when they're winning. And a lot of them begin with the word D. For dive. Go diving. Or just wait for a little bait and use the small space you have. That's the biggest thing, right? In this MMR, if there's like a turret here, you imagine the turret's still up, the Jace is shoved in, and Zed's pushing him in. You don't need a lot of room to work, right? You don't need a lot of space to work because mechanically you're just better than the MMRs beneath you. So you have not a lot of room to work with the gank, but it's enough. And also you know how you can go over different walls and tank a turret shot or two. So I want to see that kind of thought process from Shaco's, from Elise's, from anyone in Diamond. Push yourself in that sense, please. Push yourself to not let those low elo excuses affect you. Yeah? Good. We all on the same page. Now we're going back to base after staying out here. Obviously we have 357 in pocket. We kind of wanted, like, did you need to go back to base for this? Like, is this necessary? No. What's the big problem with this and why am I pointing it out? Because in Diamond people still throw like this. Coaching class this week in the private Discord again. A Diamond player with Udyr. 3 people shoved up with a Herald here. Their top laner was basing, their ADC was splitting bot lane or whatever, and they died. And they gave away Baron. Be with your team, you know, as a jungler. Now, his mistake was being with his team when he shouldn't have been. Could have just been farming and waiting. The Shaco now goes back to base to buy a Cloak of Agility, which who really gives a shit about in the context of this game, while our team's ready to go. So if I see this as a blue Kayn, for example, right, and I see this guy, I know I can kill him maybe, because I've just been maintaining good jungle farm and tempo, like, I'm strong enough as the blue Kayn to be able to carry this game. See the main channel video, talked about this, you know? And as soon as I see the jungler over here, whoo, or like delaying his base or people by themselves, this Sona's dead, by the way. Like, this Sona should be dead, this Ashe should be dead. You're running away from this guy, now you're going to push up mid lane, Shaco to cover it. This guy's going to split push this, then 4 people are going to goon squad him here. All the shutdowns have happened, and now you lose the game. Because you had to go back to base, you weren't with your team, just so you could get a Cloak of Agility, like that makes no sense. You don't need it, right? So be with your team, even as a Shaco. Even as a Shaco. Now, blue team did not use this advantage properly, but let's see, maybe they... It helps when the enemy is just that much worse than you can possibly imagine. They really aren't going to mount any sort of comeback, which I think is a little bit the message of this game. as much as you will get trolled and lose games sometimes, you also equally will have a lot of games where the enemy team are just terrible, and you win anyway, in spite of anything that you try to do. So a really great, just, okay, where are we going? Go topside with Zed and push this one. There's no objective, go take these camps. Like, I understand we're going for the red, but you had lots of time to do stuff. Yeah, he seems a bit of a, you know, cruise the highway kind of driver, you know? He likes to put it in automatic. He'll have a Porsche double clutch gearbox, but doesn't matter to him. He'll just be cruising on the Autobahn, 200 kilometers an hour. Really soft suspension, you know, cruise control, vibing. What I'm telling you guys to be is a driver's driver, right? You've got it in manual, you're shifting yourself, you've got more dynamic suspension, you're going around the curves and the twisty mountain roads, canyon carving. That's what jungling is, right? If you want to absolutely do that, you know, go top lane. Play Yumi or something like this. But jungling, you got to be dynamic the whole time. Formula 1 versus an IndyCar oval, as it will. NASCAR, whatever it is. I know you have both, but... Alright. Back to base. Hey, we got the serrated duck and cloak of agility, guys. It's over now. We've reached the spikes. We've reached the spikes. Oh, look. Hello. Oh, look at me. Oh, double kill. Ah, see, this is what I saw. See, this is what I saw. You see the 706, which is more than the Z, and you're like, yes, yes. Good job, Shaco. This is probably one of the best KDAs you're going to see from a jungler who really honestly didn't do much of anything. So, hopefully you can get a message from that and it makes sense. But all you diamond junglers, stop doing this, start doing this. And that's how you get Master Tier. Virkayu GG, join us. See you in the next video.